seatbelts, airbags, automatic headlights, backup cameras, blind spot monitoring, adaptive cruise control, full self-driving, driver monitoring systems. Enough is enough. In many ways, technology has greatly helped to advance the modern automobile. We've seen improvements not only in safety but also reliability. Over the years, we've watched as airbags and seatbelts have evolved into modern supplemental restraint systems. We've seen carburetors morph into modern throttle body injection, modern fuel injection, direct injection, all types of injection that you could possibly fathom. We no longer have wood-encased 6-volt batteries powering our Model A Fords. Instead, we have 12-volt absorbent glass mat batteries with their own battery monitoring modules and battery monitoring systems that communicate with the CAN bus and tell us how they're charging and whether or not they should cool down now because the weather's cold and Saturn is in retrograde and the... Have we gone too far? Maybe. While most of these things, I would argue, have been a good thing for the industry, over the last decade, we've seen a few indicators to prove that they aren't. My name is Z Fritz, and I'm part of the problem. Really, I'm man enough to admit it. Now, I hold a degree in automotive technology. I've been through Audi Academy, Mercedes-Benz Star. I hold just about every single ASE cert you can possibly get. And I say all this not to brag, but to kind of give you some perspective as to why I've been involved in some of the things I have. I've worked on programs and devices in the advanced driver assist space that collision centers and glass companies use whenever you wreck your car. I've also been involved in training AI models for technology being implemented across airports and different dealerships to where you can drive your car through it and it tells you what is wrong with the car, how much it's going to cost to fix. I've done a lot of neat stuff. This has allowed me to be part of conversations in boardroom meetings talking about who we're going to help and why, but it's also allowed me to sit in some backroom conversations about who's going to get fucked over by what we're creating. And today, I think that ties perfectly into our video because I can tell you the real truth behind all this new technology that, quite frankly, I think is killing the automobile industry. Let's kick things off by exposing a term that you've probably forgotten about, or more like it was kind of scrubbed from your brain as well as the internet. Planned obsolescence, and in context, planned obsolescence with Nissan. Do y'all remember around 2015 to 2016, Nissan was coming out with the Nissan Titan XD. It was planned to have a 5-liter Cummins V8, and everybody was all up in arms across the internet. Dodge fanboys were freaking out, Nissan fanboys were pumped, and people like me, I was stuck in the middle, and I really wanted one of these trucks because I like Nissan, I also like Cummins. Match made in heaven. I was pretty excited. So excited, in fact, that I got on the email waitlist at my local dealership. Let me know when one comes in. Yay. But around that same time, there was a leaked internal memo where an employee went on record. I can't quite remember the context because when searching for it, I can't find a single thing. Weird. And it was planned obsolescence. This engine was designed to fail around 300,000 miles. And I specifically remember Car and Driver, Motor Trend, all the big outlets publishing and talking about this, and now it's just gone. But at the same time, those trucks never sold well. Nobody wanted the Cummins after that because they were like, well, this is a 300,000 mile motor. I don't want it. Like, that's still a lot of miles, but it wasn't the, you know, let's call it 600,000-700,000 that you're gonna get out of the inline six. It was a flop. The brutal truth though, this isn't just a Nissan or a Cummins problem. It's industry-wide, further exacerbated by the zero weight oils that manufacturers are pushing across the board that are thinner than the grease that they're going to use when they bend you over the signing desk at 84 months at 18% APR while they force down your throat the latest crap box that's not going to even last past the 40,000 mile limited powertrain warranty that they're also going to upsell you on. Maybe your granddad was right. They truly don't make them like they used to. Just compare the fit and finish on a 1998 Daewoo Lanos to a Tesla. You'll see the difference. Let's not just take my word for it. Let's look at our future leaders of America, Gen Z, who are refusing to pay into boomers and their airheaded home prices, and instead they're just waiting them out. We're seeing the same thing play out in the silver tsunami of the housing market. We're seeing the same thing play out across the collector car market. We're seeing all sorts of people not give a damn about the plum crazy purple Hemi Cuda with numbers matching. Nobody cares anymore. Your Mecum prices, eat it. Nobody cares. We'll just go buy a brand new Scat Pack and make more power, handles better, drives better, and probably has ACC. But Zach, what about the analog resistance? The analog resistance is a very real thing. So real, in fact, that Kelley Blue Book, yes, sorry, Kelley Blue Book, KBB, and I find this hilarious for personal reasons as of late. I was trying to put a value on a project car that I wanted to make an offer on, but I wanted to be fair. KBB refused to give me numbers because apparently they think my budget is that of a moon pie and a Slim Jim. It made me mad. Or I also realized I'm poor. So if you could hit that like, subscribe, and comment button, I would greatly appreciate it. It helps me out to increase my project car budget. Or maybe KBB will see this video and give me a prize price or a cease and desist. Who knows? But anyways, KBB conducted a survey and 60% of the Gen Z that they interviewed said that they would prefer a classic or older car. That's pretty significant. And 30% said we already own one. Let that sink in for a second. Not just the numbers, but the big picture here. The big picture being that KBB had to go back and interview people for older cars and find out older car values and focus more on that than new car prices and more modern car values, because nobody's buying them. Nobody wants them. And dealers were likely pretty pissed because they pay KBB and they sponsor them and everybody's kind of in bed together. So KBB kind of had to eat crow and go evaluate to figure out, well, you should start stocking these. Go try and find a mid-2000s car right now, probably on a used car dealer lot or in used inventory somewhere, because they're all getting scooped up. The big question here is why? Why are people opting for older cars? The first reason is reliability. Older cars just last longer. They stay on the road longer. They're easier to source parts for. There's usually a large aftermarket for them. And there are dedicated online communities where you can learn to work on it yourself with simple tools. Not complex tools, simple tools that you can pick up on Harbor Freight or even better, Temu if you wanted, since we're going all Gen Z. The other reason is tactile engagement, and not tactical engagement, but tactile, meaning you can touch it, you can feel it, you can sense it. Instead of modern cars and their 72-inch wide screens in the dash that are telling you there's an error in this and that in the lock system, you can just key in the door. You can feel the window switch and the contact as it rolls down. Or better yet, you can crank it down. You can feel if there's something in the window traffic. It's very simple. I mean, hell, even as simple as a manual transmission or a manual transfer case. Those are things that I think the younger generation is greatly appreciating, because instead of having to rely on complicated error messages and figure things out that way, they're able to feel it, sense it, engage with it. The other big reason is financial pragmatism. It's a big word, but put simply, is the fact that new cars with high interest rates and just being insanely expensive, with the average new car price sitting just below $50,000. I've never in my life paid 50 grand for a car, but that's insane. Nobody wants to pay that. Nobody can afford that. Not on modern wages, not with inflation being what it is. It's just nuts. And it's not worth it, especially on a depreciating asset. I've always said, especially now more than ever, if you literally were to take a car off the lot and also have your stack of money, and in the time it takes to drive off the lot and light your money on fire, you'd have about the same depreciation either way by the time you can blow that money out. And it's pretty true now more than ever. The most interesting part is people are rejecting surveillance. Drivers are rejecting surveillance because every single insurance company on earth offers some sort of safe driving discount, where in exchange for plugging in an OBD2 device that tracks you and figures out what your car's doing at all times, or downloading an app on your phone allowing it permissions to your telemetry, navigation, and location services data, as well as who knows what else, they give you a discount. They offer you a better rate for your data that they likely sell. Then on the other hand, you have all these different apps out there designed to help you save money on gas or just share where you are. Look at all your social media apps, including, well, I don't think YouTube does it yet, but I follow that up with all these other apps that use your location services, that follow you while you drive, whether it's to save money on gas or find a convenient and cute place to eat, or just tell your friends where you're abouts. Or couple that with subscription services that you have to pay for to access features that your car comes with from the factory. Then you add in AI. Then on top of that, you see driver monitoring systems being mandated that are going to use cameras to measure your pupils and tell whether or not you're drunk or inebriated. They're going to tell you whether or not you've been looking away from the road for too long. And then they're going to use artificial intelligence to determine what to do. Is that a light on the dash? Is that a vibration in the seat? Is that a, we're going to turn the car off? What is it? And then you couple that with flock cameras. I'm sorry, but I don't trust a company whose literal company name implies that people are sheep. That's just bad business. All of it. And don't even get me started on the repair side of things. Every scan tool made in China. Seriously, think about it. Why does it seem like every single aftermarket manufacturer all of a sudden has their own proprietary scan tool? Also, what do you think about the software being used in your car? Even if you're going to come on and comment down below and say, well, the only thing I ever do with OBD is plug it in at the emissions testing center so they can pull my codes. Who do you think made the software and the tool? And guess what else is on that computer? We could also look at this from a parts perspective with new cars. Why do you think that anytime you take a new car back to the dealer, it seems like the part is always on nationwide back order? Weird. Versus if you take a older car into a dealer or repair facility, or you just order it online through one of the hundreds of thousands of aftermarket part suppliers and vendors, you can find all sorts of things. They're always in stock and they're cheaper. I'll tell you something that was told to me. Whenever I went through a manufacturer's training course for a brand, I was told babies die. Pretty shocking. But I was told that because they admitted that even their new OEM parts from the factory weren't always good. And they had about a 20 to 30% screw up rate across modules and like complex components that you would spend months waiting for. If that's the mantra, then why wouldn't I just go out and and buy something older that I have a variety of aftermarket options on, and I can read reviews and parts are proven. And people have better quality control standards than just the manufacturers do. There is hope though. Like, stock market not totally crashing within the next 12 to 24 months, levels of bleakness, but still hope. I recently helped a friend of mine sell an old car. Now, it was a 2004 two-wheel drive, 340,000 miles, nothing fancy. Cosmetically screwed. Multiple hailstorms, paint was absolutely destroyed. Not a nice car at all. However, he wanted about $1,000 for it. I optimistically thought, you know what, I'm pretty good with marketplace listings, maybe I can get $2,000. So I optimistically listed it at $3,900. Within about 30 minutes, I had about 50 messages and a guy sitting in the driveway taking the car and signing on the title at $3,500. And he was Gen Z. Now, was he absolutely crazy for buying some older, high mileage, quite frankly, piece of crap? Or was he being smart and tactical with his buying and finding a creative solution to the market that he's currently rejecting? The market that's not supporting him as a consumer. The market that isn't supporting any of us any longer, and the market who has completely missed the bar as to what consumers want out of a car. Manufacturers completely missed the mark when all we asked for was a few retro body styles to be brought back and maybe even a few old names. Instead, gluttony being all that they've ever known, they decided to gorge themselves in excess and cram it down our throats as consumers. Bringing in subscription models, different pieces of AI and technology, and even surveillance. What did you expect to happen? Truly. Even under the guise of "for your safety," the most dangerous and tyrannical words ever spoken, coming from auto manufacturers who have lobbyists who aren't even fighting any of this, I can think of a time where we did a whole hell of a lot more for a whole hell of a lot less. And I think that with these younger generations buying older vehicles and people rejecting modern cars, we are finally making a comeback.
I'm taking big shots, just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops.